my old German mechanic. So I am often greeted by my customers or people who call me for technical inquiries, and I ask them who's servicing their car, and so they always say to me, oh, I have this great old German mechanic, which, you know, I usually meet with mixed reactions, but I try not to judge. I try to ask a lot of questions before I start to make any judgments. But I often find that when somebody says they have a mechanic with 30 or 40 or 50 years experience, that the end result is typically not as good as they think it is. So why is this? Well, first of all, if you've been a mechanic for 30 years, you know, let's say you started when you were 20 and you're like age 50 or so, you're probably going to be at the peak of your game if you really like what you're doing. I know a lot of people that are doing a great job and really love their work, like my friend Pete Van Rossum at Silver Star Restorations. Pete didn't graduate from high school a few years ago, and he likes his job a lot. And my friend Gernald Nizius really seems to enjoy his work still, even if he is kind of, you know, dry a little sometimes. But for the most part, you know, a lot of these guys that are running these obscure shops or, you know, have been in business for like 40, 50, 60 years. There's a guy out here actually in Apopka named Rene, who I think everybody seems to like Rene, but sometimes I see all these holes in his work where I'm like, maybe he just doesn't care about what he's doing anymore. And that brings us to a second point. A lot of older mechanics experience something called cognitive decline. And so, you know, when you get older, unfortunately, if you don't take care of your body right, like you drink, you eat foods that are high in preservatives, high in fat, high in sugar, heavily processed, you don't exercise, you don't stimulate your brain with other interests like writing or hiking or doing something, you know, having a hobby, you know, and a lot of these guys smoked as well. You end up going through a period of cognitive decline because if you put garbage in, you get garbage out. So one of my personal goals is to try to remain healthy, you know, try to get enough sleep at night, try to eat right, try to exercise, try to stimulate my brain in other ways other than just repairing people's cars. And hopefully when I'm 50 or 60 years old, I will not be paying for some of the things that previous mechanics have had to deal with. So, you know, thus being set aside, I actually find that people who are young and enthusiastic tend to do better work than guys who have been at it for 30, 40, or 50 years. And I think a lot of it is because guys from that era who have been working on these cars for a long time stop opening their mind up to new ideas, and they quit doing the research in the cars, and they assume that everything is the same way it was when the cars were 10 years old or 20 years old. And as my friend Uwe says, you know, as the cars age, they present new technical challenges, which is true. You know, he's absolutely right, and Uwe's been at this for a long time. The other problem is you get a little bit beat up physically doing this job, and because you get so beat up physically at times, what you end up with is a certain degree of apathy or inability to do the work. I know that last summer when I went up to Long Island and rebuilt the rear axle on a 280 SE, it just about killed me. I said, I don't know if I could do this every day. And at the time, you know, I was 33 years old trying to rebuild an axle in a guy's garage. And I'm like wondering, man, what if I had to do this every day? So, I think the other key is if you're an older mechanic, you know, try to have some younger people you're training who are enthusiastic about the car so that you could distribute the difficulty of the work and each of you could contribute to the excellence of the job. But I don't want this video to be don't trust your mechanic, but you know, often if you're so confident in your mechanic with 30, 40, and 50 years of experience, you should probably try to compare their work to other mechanics. You know, doctors get second opinions. I think it's okay to get second opinions from other mechanics if you feel that that's necessary. So, I'm not saying because somebody is old, don't trust them and don't discriminate against them. But when somebody comes to you and arrogantly says, I have 40 years experience doing this, that probably means that they may still not be at the top of their game. And when somebody comes to you and says, yeah, I've been doing this for only 5 or 6 years, but I'm figuring it out, I'm trying to learn, I'm really passionate about these cars, I'm going to go with the person with passion and energy over the person who's just resting on their laurels. So, that's probably a good way to sum up this video. Anyway, if you enjoyed watching, please tap that bell for notifications. Please like, share, and subscribe. And for more really great Mercedes content, check out some of our other videos. And in the meantime, enjoy working on your Mercedes-Benz. And if you need your questions about your Mercedes answered, one of the best things you can do is support us on Patreon, because we will expeditiously get back to you with any help that you need. So thank you so much for tuning in, and enjoy driving your Mercedes-Benz, and take great care in selecting the mechanic who works on your classic Mercedes.